The people in the canteen soon found out the truth of the matter. They were all extremely shocked. What? Their Guiyuan sect and the Yin family had actually formed an alliance with the Netherworld Palace? This, hasn't our Tianyuan continent always been at odds with the Netherworld continent? Wouldn't this be making an enemy out of everyone in the Tianyuan continent? However, after discussing it for a while, they were forced to accept the truth. Those mighty figures had been captured. What was the use of their willingness? It was more important to work hard and keep their lives. Finally, at night, Yun Chujio returned to the dormitory. Lan Xiang was still cursing and swearing. Yun Chujio's eyes darkened. When she turned around, she directly chopped her unconscious with a hand knife. Yun Chujio opened the isolation array and quickly took out the sound transmission talisman. After sending her divine sense in, Di Baiming's anxious voice came from inside. "Little Jiao, where are you? Have you already left the forbidden area?" Yun Chujio briefly explained the matter, then said, "Prince Charming, quickly organize some people to come over. I will think of a way to save the hostages and destroy the protective array of the Guiyuan sect. Little Jiao, remember not to be rash. Your safety is the most important thing. Since they want to use my father and the others as hostages, then they will not harm their lives. So don't force yourself. Shui Wuji and I will think of a way to save them." Di Baiming warned. "Prince Charming, don't worry. I cherish my life. I won't do anything reckless." Yun Chujio said with a smile. After Yun Chujio put away the voice transmission talisman, she calculated that it would take about 4 days for the pretty boy and Wu Ji to rush here. What she needed to do first was to find out where they were locked up and the location of the core of the sect protecting array. It was not difficult to find out the location of the hostages. There would always be clues for the people who received the food. However, the core of the sect protection formation would probably take some effort. Yun Chujio calculated for a while and got Lan Xiang onto the bed. Then, she fell asleep in a daze. The next day, after Lan Xiang woke up, she shouted fiercely, "Bitch, did you do something yesterday? Why did I suddenly pass out?" Yun Chujio said hesitantly, "I don't know what happened, but you suddenly passed out. Are you too tired?" Lan Xiang stared at Yun Chujio and felt that Yun Chujio would not have the courage to hit her. Perhaps she was really too tired? Lan Xiang scolded a few more words, and the two of them washed up and went to the canteen to work. Yun Chujio observed the disciples and maids who came to receive the meal and gathered some useful information. Damn it! Those people from the Netherworld Palace are really hard to please. Each of them is like a master who treats them with good food and drinks, yet they are still picky. Only senior brother Chu who has a good temper. If it were me, I would have turned hostile long ago. A disciple who came to receive the meal said in dissatisfaction. Alright, stop complaining. What's the use of saying this? Senior brother Chu who didn't say anything, so what's the use of us being dissatisfied? Besides, they are guarding the important figures, so their status is naturally different. Those big shots are just so weren't they all obediently captured? Just feeding them a few fasting pills every day, how miserable. Yun Chujio's eyes flashed. It seemed that Di Linhan and the others were not locked together with the secret guards, and were being guarded by the people from the Hall of the Netherworld and Chuhu. This gave her an opportunity to take advantage of, and she had to make a good plan. Another 2 days had passed. Yun Chujio had already figured out the place where Di Linhan and the rest were imprisoned and the secret guards were. However, she did not know where the eye of the array was. Yun Chujio gritted her teeth. It seemed that the breakthrough was on Chuhu. He was Qin Yixio's personal disciple and he definitely knew where the eye of the array was. She had to think of a way to control him. That evening, when she got off work, Yun Chujio found a catalyst and went to the courtyard where Chu had held her hostage. Although she was not sure if Chu lived here, she might be able to gain something. Yun Chujio walked a few rounds outside the courtyard, but she did not see Chu. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes, threw one of her veils on the ground, and returned to the dormitory. When Lan Xiang saw that Yun Chujio had returned, she naturally spoke coldly. As usual, Yun Chujio treated her like a dog barking. Her expression did not change, but in her heart, she was planning her next step. Unexpectedly, an hour later, someone directly broke into the house. It was Chu Hu. Chu Hu had a cold smile on the corner of his mouth. He went forward and grabbed Yun Chujia's arm. Don, I didn't expect you to play the game of playing hard to get with me. Come with me. Yun Chujio pretended to struggle a few times and was dragged away by Chu Hu. Lan Xiang spat at the ground. Pretentious, bitch. Chu Hu dragged Yun Chujio directly to the courtyard. After entering, he threw Yun Chujio on the bed, then he took out a veil from his storage ring. I found this at the entrance of the courtyard. What are you doing outside my courtyard? Yun Chujio lowered her head slightly and said shyly, I have thought it through. You are much better than that Yin Xuecheng. I would rather follow you. Chu Hu was stunned at first, then he laughed wildly. Daybreak, Daybreak, I didn't expect you to finally give in. Back then I tried so hard to please you, but you didn't even care. Yet, you were moved by a D-biming that you had never met before. TSK, you know your junior sister's character, but you actually dared to like D-biming. You are really courting death. Now that your face has been disfigured and your throat has been damaged, how about you think of me? Bitch, let me tell you, you are just a plaything of mine. Be good and obedient. I won't mistreat you. If you play tricks on me, I will kill you. Yes, I will definitely serve you well. Fuck, I will serve you to hell. Chu Hu was very proud. You are tactful. To tell you the truth, I am going to soar to great heights very soon. Maybe I can help you recover your appearance. All of this depends on your performance. Senior brother Chu Hu, then, let's rest. Chu Hu grinned hideously as he took off his clothes. When he was halfway through taking off his clothes, he suddenly staggered. Then, several small purple needles shot at him. Following the sound of explosions, Chu Hu cried out in pain. This Chu Hu could be considered to have tied himself in a cocoon. He was afraid that Yun Chujia's cry would attract other people, so he activated the isolation array, which happened to help Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio wanted to ask the location of the array core, but the location of the small purple needle was not a vital point. Therefore, even though Chu Hu's body was covered in blood from the explosion, it was not to the extent of losing his life. Yun Chujio restrained Chu Hu's spiritual power and tied him up with a rope. Yun Chujio held the large kitchen knife and sneered, You want to take advantage of me? You are really courting death. Tell me, where is the array core of your sect protection array? This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. You are not Daybreak? Chu Hu heard Yun Chujia's voice was no longer dark. He thought of some things and finally realized that the person in front of him was a fake. Of course I am not Daybreak. You have already killed Daybreak. I am her vengeful spirit, and I am here to seek revenge. Yun Chujio said sinisterly. Chu Hu sneered. You don't have to play tricks. Let me go quickly, or else you won't be able to recover. Is there something wrong with your head? If I let you go, why would I arrest you? Cut the crap. Where's the formation's eye? Yun Chujio took the large kitchen knife and cut Chu Hu's arm. Chu Hu was in so much pain that he cried like a ghost and howled like a wolf. However, he did not spit. Yun Chujio was so angry that she cut him a few more times. Chu Hu fainted from the pain, but he didn't spit. He knew that once he said it, he would be of no use anymore, and Yun Chujio would kill him. Yun Chujio was secretly resentful. Damn it, she wasn't a spirit paragon yet, so there was no way to search his soul. How could she make him spit? Yun Chujio rolled her eyes. Got it. She didn't know the soul-searching technique, but she knew hypnosis. Although the effect wasn't as good as the soul-searching technique, it shouldn't be a problem to let Xiao Hong help. Yun Chujio brought Xiao Hong out and then splashed cold water on Chu Hu to wake him up. Chu Hu was already seriously injured, and with the seductive voice of Xiao Hong, Yun Chujio tried a few times and finally succeeded in hypnotizing him. Where is the array eye of the Guiyuan sect protection array? It's in the secret room of Junior Sister's bedroom. Yun Chujio couldn't help but be stunned. What a pervert! He had actually set the formation's eye in Qin Ming's bedroom, but this was indeed unexpected. How many people are guarding the place where Di Linhan and the others are being held? About 400 people, all of them are from the Netherworld Palace. How many people are guarding the place where those secret guards are being held? About 200 people, guarded by our Gui Yuan sect. Yun Chujio had asked enough questions, so she directly killed Chu Hu. She picked up Chu Hu's identity jade token and storage ring, and then asked the little black bird to destroy the evidence. Yun Chujio pondered for a moment. Apparently, she should be more relaxed about the guards of the secret guards. She would first think of a way to save them and then make further plans. Otherwise, she would not be able to do it alone, no matter how talented she was. Xiao Hanyo could not help but curse in its heart. At this time, its narcissistic master still did not forget to praise itself. There was really no one else. Yun Chujio came out of the courtyard, activated the concealment talisman, and walked towards the courtyard where the dark guards were imprisoned. Yun Chujio did not walk far before she met a group of patrolling disciples. Although Yun Chujio hid very quickly, she was still discovered by others. Obviously, among these people, there were disciples with the cultivation of spiritual venerable. Who are you? Come out quickly, or else don't blame us for being rude. Someone shouted angrily. Yun Chujio thought for a moment and stood out from behind the bushes. She said submissively, "Yes, it's me." Some disciples recognized Yun Chujio. "This is Daybreak from the canteen." It turned out to be the mispersonal maid. Later, she was disfigured and sent to the canteen. The leader of the disciples frowned. "It's late at night. Why are you here instead of staying in the dormitory?" Yun Chujio lowered her head and said, It's senior brother Chu who wants to see me. I have no choice." Some of the disciples sneered. They said to the leader of the disciples, "Senior brother Zhu, you may not know this, but senior brother Chu Hu's taste is very unique. Recently, he has been very interested in this Daybreak. A few days ago, he was looking for her everywhere. This must have just become a good thing, hee." The leading disciple curled his lips in disdain. Senior brother Chu who is really romantic. He is still thinking about this matter at this time. Hurry back to the dormitory. This time, I will give senior brother Chu Hu face. Next time, I will not let you off. Yes, thank you." Yun Chujio thanked him and staggered away. After Yun Chujio ran for some distance, she activated the concealment talisman again and continued to run towards the courtyard where the secret guards were imprisoned. Along the way, she encountered two more groups of patrolling people. Yun Chujio narrowly avoided them, and only after 2 hours did she approach the courtyard where the secret guards were imprisoned. Yun Chujio's initial thought was quite simple. She thought that it would be the same as the time at the Temple of Immortals, where she would think of a way to sneak in and rescue them. However, when she got close to them, she realized that her thoughts were too naive. Not counting the irregular patrolling disciples, that courtyard alone was surrounded by many Gui Yuan sect disciples. Moreover, Yun Chujio could not tell the cultivation base of some of them, so they must be at least at the 8th level of the Spirit Saint realm. It was almost impossible to sneak in and save her without her knowing. Most importantly, she did not have any helpers, so she had no time to spare. There was no chance for her to sneak in. It seemed that she had to think of another way. Yun Chujio squatted behind the bushes and thought hard. Finally, she came up with a bold idea. She quietly stood up and walked around for a distance before swaggering towards the courtyard. Soon, a disciple noticed Yun Chujio and shouted, "Stop! Who is it?" Yun Chujio said with a hoarse voice, "Senior brothers, I am here to deliver supper." "Deliver supper? Is there such a good thing?" The leader asked suspiciously. One of the disciples said, "Senior brother Gu, I know her. She is Daybreak from the canteen. Perhaps the higher-ups have worked too hard to meet us, so they sent us supper." Senior brother Gu still asked suspiciously, "Who asked you to deliver it?" Yun Chujio took out Chu Hu's token. It was senior brother Chu who arranged for Manager Lu. He said that all of you have worked hard. The food at the Netherworld Hall is much better than yours. I feel a little guilty. That senior brother Gu had some doubts at first, but when he heard Yun Chujio's words, he believed her 90%. Firstly, he had Chu Hu's token, and secondly, this maid could not make up those words. Some of the disciples were already impatient. They shouted, "Senior Brother Gu, we already have Senior Brother Chu's token, so it can't be bad. We are all hungry now. Don, hurry up and bring out the food." Seeing that Senior Brother Gu didn't say anything, Yun Chujio started to bring out the dishes one by one. She was glad that she had stored a lot of food from the Heavenly Yuan Academy's canteen. Otherwise, it would have been difficult to handle. When the disciples saw the steaming dishes, they immediately started to eat. Even Senior Brother Gu picked up his bowl and chopsticks and started to eat with the others. Yun Chujio's eyes flickered a few times. Eat it, eat it. This was her way of giving someone a taste of their own medicine. She remembered that the Netherworld elixir was found on the bodies of the people from the Netherworld Palace. "Senior brothers, you guys eat. They'll leave first. They'll just send the cutlery back to the canteen tomorrow." Yun Chujio was afraid that these people would find out that something was wrong with her, so she found an excuse to escape. Of course, she would not run too far away. Instead, she took a detour and hid behind the bushes to secretly look outside. After about an hour, those people began to feel sleepy. However, they thought that it was already late at night, so they didn't doubt it. Yun Chujio knew that the opportunity had come. After she activated the concealment talisman, she quickly rushed over. The disciples were all sleepy. When they found Yun Chujio was already in front of them. Yun Chujio waved a big bag of sleeping powder at them. If it were any other time, these people wouldn't have been affected by the poison as they had spiritual energy on them. However, 70 to 80% of their spiritual energy had already disappeared. Furthermore, they weren't prepared for it, so more than a dozen of them had already fainted from the poison. Yun Chujio didn't want to continue fighting. She rushed into the courtyard through the opening. Those people naturally wouldn't let the matter rest. They chased after her in a hubbub. Yun Chujio released the 3 silly girls and Xiao Mogu. "You guys hold on. They'll go in and save them." The 3 silly girls suddenly had a sense of mission. Although their spiritual power was not very high, these disciples were all hit by the Netherworld elixir and only had 10 to 20% of their spiritual power left. It would not be a problem to stop them for a while. Moreover, Xiao Hanio could attack from the air. Those disciples did not put the 3 little ones in their eyes. As for the Xiao Mogu, they did not see it. They thought it was just an edible mushroom that Yun Chujio had accidentally dropped. Xiao Hong roared and the disciples were slightly stunned. The Xiao Hanio's fireball immediately attacked them. The Xiao Hei used its little claws to attack left and right, sending one flying with each claw. It was extremely efficient. Xiao Mogu secretly poked the mycelium out and entangled a few disciples. The disciples were shocked. What the hell was this? They quickly used their spiritual power to attack Xiao Mogu's mycelium, trying to cut it off. Unfortunately, the effect was very weak. The spiritual power in their bodies was quickly absorbed by the mycelium, and even their bodies began to corrode. The disciples were immediately frightened to the point of wailing like ghosts and howling like wolves. Xiao Mogu was very cunning. Seeing that these people no longer had any power to resist, he simply let them go and then went to stop the disciples who wanted to enter the house. The disciples who were frightened by Xiao Mogu's release were scared out of their wits. They no longer dared to rush in. They ran out of the house in terror, and for a moment, they were in a mess. While the fight was intense, Yun Chujio had already rushed into the room. There were hundreds of secret guards lying on the ground. They were probably fed with the spirit-devouring powder and sleeping powder. Yun Chujio poured a few basins of cold water on a few secret guards dressed in the Temple of Immortals. After feeding them the antidote for the spirit-devouring powder, she ordered, "Quickly save the rest and follow me to rush out. Quick! We have to save those mighty figures before the others arrive." Those secret guards were a little dumbfounded. Who were those people? Why did they feel a little familiar? However, now was not the time to be stunned. They quickly woke up the others and fed them the antidote. They did not dare to delay. According to Yun Chujio's instructions, they rushed out and killed those people from the Guiyuan sect in less than 15 minutes. However, there were still people who escaped to deliver the letter. Yun Chujio also knew that it was impossible to seal the news. After all, those people still had their identity jade tokens, so they had to hurry up. Yun Chujio put away the three silly cuties and Xiao Mogu and led everyone towards the courtyard where Di Linhan and the others were being held. Yun Chujio felt that the veil on her face was getting in the way, so she simply tore it off. Only then did the secret guards of the Temple of Immortals realize, oh my god, isn't this fairy Xiaojio? What the hell was on her face? Was she disfigured? Word spread like wildfire. Everyone knew that they had been saved by Yun Chujio. They didn't know why, but when they found out that the little girl in front of them was Yun Chujio, they immediately felt confident. Damn it, last time, little fairy Gio alone was able to turn the tide. Now, she can definitely bring us to save the sect leader. Certainly can. Yun Chujio ran as she distributed the supreme-grade explosive talismans to the secret guards. When the time comes, listen to my command. When I say explode, throw it out. Do you hear me? The secret guards of the Temple of Immortals were better off. The secret guards of the other forces looked at the thick pile of supreme-grade explosive talismans in their hands and felt that their worldview had been severely impacted. Emma, this little fairy Gio was indeed not human. Where did she get so many supreme-grade explosive talismans from? Could it be that she had drawn them all herself? This was just too perverse. Everyone quickly rushed to the courtyard where Di Linhan and the others were being held. Yun Chujio had everyone spread out and surrounded the entire courtyard to prevent the people from the Hall of the Netherworld from moving them. When the secret guards from the Hall of the Netherworld heard that there was a disturbance in the distance, they immediately stepped up their vigilance. Now that they saw Yun Chujio bringing people over, they immediately assumed a battle stance. Yun Chujio instructed Xiao He, Xiao Mogu, and Xiao Mogu to go underground under the cover of the Dark Guards. Come, let's give them a big fireworks display. Yun Chujio curled her lips and waved her hand. Following Yun Chujio's words, the Dark Guards threw the explosive talismans in their hands at the Dark Guards of the Netherworld Palace. Loud explosions rang out continuously. The Dark Shrine's Dark Guards did not expect these people to explode at the slightest disagreement. Although they did not kill many, most of them were injured and their imposing manner instantly weakened. The Dark Shrine's Dark Guards were originally full of confidence and planned to fight to the death with these Dark Guards. However, they did not expect them to not fight at all. They were all here with cheats. Dharma Protector Zhao was also a cunning old fox. He immediately ordered, "Bring those people over as hostages. I want to see if they still dare to make a move." Very quickly, Di Linhan and the rest were brought over by the Dark Guards of the Hall of the Netherworld. The people around the courtyard had also withdrawn, and the two sides were in a standoff. As it was nighttime and Yun Chujio had many fake scars on her face, Di Linhan and the rest did not recognize Yun Chujio. They were still wondering who this little girl was. Could it be that she was the one who rescued their secret guards? She was wearing the Gui Yuan sect's uniform. Could it be that she could not stand the Gui Yuan sect's way of doing things, so she acted righteously? Dharma Protector Zhao did not recognize her either. He sneered and said, "Who are you? Could it be that you are the Gui Yuan sect's mole? I advise you to surrender obediently, or I will kill these hostages." Yo, are you trying to scare ghosts? Without these hostages, you are nothing. Without these hostages as a hostage, how can your Netherworld Hall conquer the Tianyuan continent? If you dare to kill these people, your Vice Palace Master Lu will skin you alive. Yun Chujio curled her lips and said mockingly. Only then did Di Linhan and the others recognize that it was Yun Chujio's voice, and their hearts were filled with mixed feelings. During the previous competition in the Burning Sky Plains, it was the little girl who descended from the sky to save the situation. This time, it was this little girl who stood up again. Speaking of which, how did she come in? Di Linhan was even a little suspicious. Could it be that the little girl, little Gio, was mischievous and had snuck in among his secret guards? Then how did she escape? Some people from the Netherworld Hall also recognized that it was Yun Chujio's voice, because some of them had been to the Burning Sky Mystic Realm before, and they immediately cried out in surprise, "Dharma Protector Zhao, this stinky little girl is Yun Chujio." Dharma Protector Zhao was stunned for a moment before he gritted his teeth and said, "So it's you. You are really the sworn enemy of our Netherworld Hall." Every time you come out to stir up trouble, today is the day you die. Bring Di Linhan here. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Di Linhan was pushed over and Dharma Protector Zhao said viciously, "Yun Chujio, surrender obediently or I will kill Di Linhan." The corners of Yun Chujio's mouth curled up. "Kill my uncle? Do you think I am a fool? My uncle is an important bargaining chip for you to use against my big brother Bei Ming in the future. If you kill my uncle, I guess your Vice Palace Master Lu will definitely reward you well. He might even reward you with 1,000 cuts." Dharma Protector Zhao had never seen such a threatened target before. Under normal circumstances, shouldn't she be obedient or angry out of humiliation? Why did Yun Chujio look like she didn't care? Most importantly, what she said was right. Dharma Protector Zhao really didn't dare to kill Di Linhan. Di Linhan was a very important hostage. If it weren't for him, it would have been impossible to capture the Temple of Immortals. Dharma Protector Zhao gritted his teeth and said, "Bring that old fool Huangfu Zhongheng here." "Yun Chujio, this Huangfu Zhongheng isn't that useful. If you don't surrender obediently, I'll kill him." Dharma Protector Zhao pointed his sword at Dean Huangfu and said. Yun Chujio had a shocked expression on her face. "Dharma Protector Zhao, are you out of your mind? TSK, I really don't know why Vice Palace Master Lu would give such an important task to you. Dean Huangfu isn't that useful? There are tens of thousands of students and teachers in the Tianyuan Institute. If you don't have Dean Huangfu, do you think those people would be obedient? Besides, only Dean Huangfu knows where all the treasures of the Tianyuan Institute are hidden. Are you sure you want to kill him?" Although Dharma Protector Zhao didn't want to admit it, he felt that Yun Chujio's words made sense. He really couldn't kill this Huangfu Zhongheng. Dharma Protector Zhao then changed a few hostages to threaten Yun Chujio, but they were all rejected by Yun Chujio with various reasons. Di Linhan and the others were stunned. The people from the Hall of the Netherworld were stunned. The hidden guards behind Yun Chujio were also stunned. They could still play like this? Dharma Protector Zhao held a group of hostages in his hands, but why did it feel like the initiative was always in Yun Chujio's hands? This was too illogical. Dharma Protector Zhao also realized that he had been brought into the ditch by Yun Chujio. He was so angry that his face turned red and his neck was thick as he said, "Yun Chujio, don't try to be clever. Although I can't kill them, but I can still chop off an arm or a leg. You better surrender now or I will chop off one of Di Linhan's arms." "Chop off an arm, then I have to think about it. Give me some time, I will discuss it with them," Yun Chujio said in a fluster. Dharma Protector Zhao saw that Yun Chujio had finally revealed a flustered expression, and only then did he feel that he had regained some face. He said viciously, "I will at most give you half a quarter of an hour to think about it. If you do not surrender when the time is up, not only will I have to cut off Di Linhan's arm, the rest of you will also have one of your arms cut off." All right. We will discuss it right away. You must not be impulsive. Being impulsive is the devil. Once you make a decision out of impulse, the consequences will be unimaginable. That is why people must think twice before doing anything. Not only must you consider the cause, you must also consider the consequences. Yun Chujio rambled on and on about the topic of, you cannot be impulsive. Dharma Protector Zhao didn't react at first, but by the time he did, Yun Chujio had already spoken for 15 minutes. He was so angry that he gritted his teeth. "Yun Chujio, you are deliberately stalling for time. Hurry up and make a decision, or I will give the order to attack." This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Dharma Protector Zhao, you're really impatient. When Qin Yixiao and Yin Qinghua, those two old bastards, come, won't I be attacked from both sides? I'm not even in a hurry. Why are you in such a hurry? Yun Chujio curled her lips. She began to discuss with the secret guards. Among those secret guards, there were a few who reacted quickly. They deliberately went against Yun Chujio to stall for time. "Little Fairy Gio, although you saved our lives, we don't want to sacrifice ourselves for others." "That's right. It wasn't easy for us to escape. We want surrender just because of these mighty figures. That makes sense. We only have one life. Compared to our lives, nothing else is important. Little ninth fairy, we don't agree to surrender. Yun Chujio pretended to be angry and said, "How can you people not see the big picture? If these mighty figures die, how can we fight against the Netherworld Hall?" The two sides argued non-stop, and 15 minutes passed very quickly. Dharma Protector Zhao said with disdain, "You people are really cowardly. You people of the Tianyuan continent are not only greedy but also cowardly. You shouldn't have taken such good resources from the Tianyuan continent." Yun Chujio raised her eyebrows. "Dharma Protector Zhao, from what you said, you people of the Netherworld continent are very brave, right? If I took you as a hostage, wouldn't you beg for mercy?" "Humph. That's only natural. I would rather die than betray the Netherworld Palace." "Cut the crap, what's your decision?" Dharma Protector Zhao said with his lips curled up. "Our decision is naturally to have it both ways. We will not surrender, but we will also save the person." Yun Chujio said with a smile. Dharma Protector Zhao could not help but laugh maniacally. "Yun Chujio, are you talking in your sleep? Since you're so stubborn, someone come and chop off one of Di Linhan's arms." Di Linhan closed his eyes and thought to himself, what little Jiao did was the right thing to do. It did not matter if he lost one of his arms, but if she were to surrender, then he would lose everything. What he did not expect was that Di Linhan did not feel the blade coming down, but instead heard a few cries of surprise. Di Linhan quickly opened his eyes to look and saw that Dharma Protector Zhao and the person who had been holding him were trapped by something. It seemed to be the mycelium of a mushroom. After Xiao Mogu restrained Dharma Protector Zhao and the others, it retreated to Yun Chujia's side and said, "Master, my spiritual power is not going to be able to hold on much longer. You have to end the battle quickly." Yun Chujio immediately signaled for everyone to restrain the few people that they had captured. Yun Chujio used her knife to press on Dharma Protector Zhao's neck and said, "Dharma Protector Zhao, you were speaking righteously just now. I wonder if you are still stubborn now." Dharma Protector Zhao never would have dreamed that a moment ago he was still threatening Yun Chujio. In the blink of an eye, he had become a hostage. How was this possible? It was all this damn mushroom's doing. However, he was at the 5th level of the spiritual venerable realm. How could he be so easily captured by this unremarkable Xiao Mogu? Right, he seemed to have one foot pulled just now. Then he fell into the trap. What was it that pulled his foot? Seeing that Dharma Protector Zhao didn't say anything, Yun Chujio directly cut his back. Dharma Protector Zhao cried out in pain. Yun Chujio said fiercely, "Get your men to release the hostages, or I'll kill you." Dharma Protector Zhao's eyes flickered. "Yun Chujio, you don't dare to kill me. I'm your only bargaining chip. If you kill me, you'll have nothing to rely on." Chapter 1601. He wanted the 1,600th octopus and the bear paw. Dharma Protector Zhao, you're really impatient. When Qin Yixiao and Yin Qinghua, those two old bastards, come, won't I be attacked from both sides? I'm not even in a hurry. Why are you in such a hurry? Yun Chujio curled her lips. She began to discuss with the secret guards. Among those secret guards, there were a few who reacted quickly. They deliberately went against Yun Chujio to stall for time. "Little Fairy Jiao, although you saved our lives, we don't want to sacrifice ourselves for others." "That's right. It wasn't easy for us to escape. We want surrender just because of these mighty figures." "That makes sense. We only have one life. Compared to our lives, nothing else is important. Little ninth fairy, we don't agree to surrender." Yun Chujio pretended to be angry and said, "How can you people not see the big picture? If these mighty figures die, how can we fight against the Netherworld Hall?" The two sides argued non-stop, and 15 minutes passed very quickly. Dharma Protector Zhao said with disdain, "You people are really cowardly. You people of the Tianyuan continent are not only greedy but also cowardly. You shouldn't have taken such good resources from the Tianyuan continent." Yun Chujio raised her eyebrows. "Dharma Protector Zhao, from what you said, you people of the Netherworld continent are very brave, right? If I took you as a hostage, wouldn't you beg for mercy? Humph. That's only natural. I would rather die than betray the Netherworld Palace. Cut the crap, what's your decision? Dharma Protector Zhao said with his lips curled up. Our decision is naturally to have it both ways. We will not surrender, but we will also save the person. Yun Chujio said with a smile. Dharma Protector Zhao could not help but laugh maniacally. Yun Chujio, are you talking in your sleep? Since you're so stubborn, someone come and chop off one of Di Linhan's arms. Di Linhan closed his eyes and thought to himself, what little Jiao did was the right thing to do. It did not matter if he lost one of his arms, but if she were to surrender, then he would lose everything. What he did not expect was that Di Linhan did not feel the blade coming down, but instead heard a few cries of surprise. Di Linhan quickly opened his eyes to look and saw that Dharma Protector Zhao and the person who had been holding him were trapped by something. It seemed to be the mycelium of a mushroom. Please reading on Maibo X and Velcom. After Xiao Mogu restrained Dharma Protector Zhao and the others, it retreated to Yun Chujia's side and said, Master, my spiritual power is not going to be able to hold on much longer. You have to end the battle quickly. Yun Chujio immediately signaled for everyone to restrain the few people that they had captured. Yun Chujio used her knife to press on Dharma Protector Zhao's neck and said, Dharma Protector Zhao, you were speaking righteously just now. I wonder if you are still stubborn now? Dharma Protector Zhao never would have dreamed that a moment ago he was still threatening Yun Chujio. In the blink of an eye, he had become a hostage. How is this possible? It was all this damn mushroom's doing. However, he was at the 5th level of the spiritual venerable realm. How could he be so easily captured by this unremarkable Xiao Mogu? Right, he seemed to have one foot pulled just now. Then he fell into the trap. What was it that pulled his foot? Seeing that Dharma Protector Zhao didn't say anything, Yun Chujio directly cut his back. Dharma Protector Zhao cried out in pain. Yun Chujio said fiercely, Get your men to release the hostages, or I'll kill you. Dharma Protector Zhao's eyes flickered. Yun Chujio, you don't dare to kill me. I'm your only bargaining chip. If you kill me, you'll have nothing to rely on. Oh, your IQ has gone up? I thought you didn't bring your brain with you. Yun Chujio said mockingly. Dharma Protector Zhao was so angry that he was twitching. It's not that my brain isn't working, it's that I've never met a pervert like you who doesn't play by the rules. How about this, let's make a deal. 1 for 1. I can release you, but you also have to release one of our hostages. You can discuss who you want to release. Yun Chujio said with a smile. Dharma Protector Zhao was delighted. This Yun Chujio was really smart and muddle-headed. As long as he was released, he could use other hostages to force her into submission. Thus he said, Sure. Let's use sect leader me of the Setting Sun sect to exchange. Dharma Protector Zhao deliberately picked an unimportant hostage, but he didn't expect Yun Chujio to agree so readily. Sure. You guys untie the ropes on him. I'll untie the ropes on you too, and then release him at the same time. The people of the Netherworld Hall naturally had to listen to Dharma Protector Zhao. Seeing that Dharma Protector Zhao had agreed, they quickly untied the ropes on sect leader me of the Setting Sun sect. Both sides counted to 3 at the same time and began to exchange hostages. The people of the Netherworld Hall focused their attention on Dharma Protector Zhao and sect leader me. They were afraid that Yun Chujio would take the opportunity to do something. However, they did not realize that Xiao Mogu had disappeared without a trace. From afar, the sound of footsteps could be heard. It was obvious that Qin Yixiao and Yin Qinghua had already brought people over. The people of the Netherworld Palace were even more pleased with themselves. Once the reinforcements arrived, these people would definitely die, although it was a little dangerous. Fortunately, it was just a false alarm. Just as Dharma Protector Zhao and Sect Master Mi brushed past each other, Yun Chujio suddenly jumped up and aimed at Dharma Protector Zhao with a few little piglets of spiritual energy. Dharma Protector Zhao felt a spiritual power fluctuation behind him and hurriedly activated his defensive barrier. He then threw a palm strike at Yun Chujio. Stinky girl! You actually didn't keep your word. Aren't you afraid that I'll kill those hostages? Yun Chujio snorted coldly and threw out a few things. Before the people of the Netherworld Palace could see what they were, a few people guarding the hostages were entangled by Xiao Mogus mycelium. At this moment, they also saw clearly that Yun Chujio had thrown out 5 refined iron puppets. Those people were stunned at first. Weren't refined iron puppets used for defense when they were escaping? What was Yun Chujio doing with 5 puppets now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, protect the hostages. Don't just stand there. Go, kill as many as you can. Yun Chujio said as she attacked Dharma Protector Zhao. Although her spiritual power was not as high as Dharma Protector Zhao's. However, this fellow had plenty of defensive spirit tools on him. It would not be a problem for him to only attack and not defend. Those hidden guards had been holding back for a long time. When they heard Yun Chujio's order, they immediately charged forward and started to fight with the people from the Hall of the Netherworld. Dharma Protector Zhao was worried about the hostages. If there were no hostages, then this operation would be a waste. He shouted at everyone, "Watch over the hostages! Watch over the hostages!" The people from the Hall of the Netherworld naturally knew that the hostages were the most important. But firstly, a few people had been killed by Xiao Mogu. Secondly, Xiao He had bitten off the ropes on the hostages. Although Di Linhan and the others had not recovered their spiritual powers, but their movement techniques were still there. They could still hold on for a while. The most important thing was that the 5 fine iron puppets were just too sick. They were not afraid of the attacks from the people from the Hall of the Netherworld at all, and covered the hostages as they retreated towards Yun Chujio's side. Yun Chujio simply took out a large handful of the antidote for the devouring spirit powder and threw it towards Di Linhan and the others. "Uncle, the antidote." This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Di Linhan and the others caught the antidote and stuffed it into their mouths. Their spiritual powers gradually recovered. Although they had only recovered a portion of their spiritual powers, the people from the Hall of the Netherworld could not hold on any longer and all of them fled in all directions. Dharma Protector Zhao saw that the situation had turned for the worse and gritted his teeth. With a feint, he fled as well. Yun Chujio shouted, "Ignore them and quickly retreat into the courtyard. Stay alert around the courtyard and prepare for the next round of battle." The secret guards did not care whether their master agreed or not. They just spread out according to Yun Chujio's instructions and began to stand guard. Those mighty figures rubbed their noses. "All right, our subordinates have been subdued by the little girl in such a short time?" Before those mighty figures could say anything, Yun Chujio said, "Don't thank me yet. Quickly meditate and recover your spiritual power. I reckon that the Netherworld Hall won't be able to do so little. There must be a big move waiting for us." Those almighty experts had no choice but to start meditating and recuperating. In order to prevent them from escaping, they were given a lot more devouring spirit powder than those secret guards. Therefore, although they had taken the antidote, in order to recover to their best condition, they would need to recuperate for a period of time. Just as Yun Chujio finished giving her instructions, Qin Yixiao and Yin Qinghua led their disciples and surrounded the courtyard. Yun Chujio could not help but feel a bit of a toothache. The number of people on the opposite side was more than 10 times that of our side. Even if they were tired, they could exhaust us to death. Most importantly, this was Gui Yuan sect's territory. They had the geographical advantage, and our side was at a disadvantage everywhere. Qin Mingzhu followed behind Qin Yixiao. When she saw the clothes on Yun Chujio's body and the scars on her face, she immediately blurted out, "You pretended to be Dawn?" Yun Chujio giggled, "Qin Mingzhu, you are quite smart. Then I don't understand why such a smart person like you would do such a stupid thing. You guys have formed an alliance with the Netherworld Palace. Isn't this like asking a tiger for its skin? Aren't you guys afraid that the Netherworld Palace will not keep its word after the deed is done? If the powers like the Temple of Immortals do not perish, everyone will have to work together to fight against the Netherworld Palace. With just your Gui Yuan sect and Yin family, won't they be gnawed until not even bones are left?" Qin Mingzhu sneered, "Yun Chujio, you don't have to be so glib. You should mind your own business first. After what you've done, the only difference is that we have one more hostage. Do you think you can escape? Yun Chujio rolled her eyes. Tisk. Of course, we can escape. The most important thing in a war is the essence, not the quantity. Let's not talk about you people, just those trash from the Netherworld Palace are too weak. They can't even hold a hostage, yet they still dare to dream of conquering our Netherworld continent. They really overestimate themselves. Hearing Yun Chujio's words, Dharma Protector Zhao's eyes turned red, as if he was hesitating about something. Yun Chujio continued to say, and that Dharma Protector Zhao, he even called himself a Dharma Protector? Not only is his spiritual power low, but his brain is also not functioning properly. He's simply an idiot. I don't know how he became a Dharma Protector. Could it be that he bought it with money? Dharma Protector Zhao was silent for a moment with an inexplicable expression, then he smiled coldly and said, Yun Chujio, no wonder Vice Palace Master Lu said that you can't be underestimated. I really underestimated you. You really have a belly full of bad water. However, I'm afraid that you'll be disappointed. Now that our side has the absolute advantage, why do we need to bring out our trump card? Yun Chujio cursed in her heart. Damn it, he's still quite smart. They actually didn't fall for it. What was their trump card? This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Yun Chujio felt that the people of the Netherworld Hall must have some big tricks up their sleeves. However, it was useless to provoke them, so she could only wait and see. Yun Chujio had just communicated with Di Baiming. Di Baiming and Xue Wuji would need at least half a day to reach the Gui Yuan sect, so they had to delay the time. Qin Yixiao and Yin Qinghua had also considered this point. They wanted to finish the battle as soon as possible, so they waved their hands and ordered to attack. Yun Chujio smiled coldly. Little ones, blow them up. I have plenty of explosive talismans here. Blow them all to death. Di Linhan and the others did not bother to adjust their breathing. They spread out and helped the hidden guards to guard the surroundings of the courtyard. With the explosive talismans and the attacks of Di Linhan and the others, the first wave of attacks from the Gui Yuan sect and the Yin family were blocked. Yin Qinghua smiled sinisterly. Continue to attack. I don't believe that the explosive talismans on their bodies cannot be used up. I'm sorry. I have hundreds of thousands of explosive talismans on me. Of course, what Yun Chujio said was not the truth. However, she just happened to have a batch of explosive talismans that she wanted to send to the Thunder sect, so she could use them against the enemy. Although Qin Yixiao and Yin Qinghua did not believe that Yun Chujio really had so many explosive talismans, they were so angry that they gritted their teeth when they saw the endless supply of explosive talismans on Yun Chujio's side. Why did this wretched girl have so many talismans for no reason? It was really detestable. The second wave of attacks from the Gui Yuan sect and the Yin family were also blocked. Just as Qin Yixiao was about to launch the third wave of attacks immediately, flames soared into the sky from a distance. There were actually several places that were on fire. Qin Yixiao took a look and saw that the ones that were on fire were actually the library, the warehouse, and the living room. He stomped his feet anxiously and said, "Send half of our men to quickly put out the fire. Why is there a fire all of a sudden?" Yun Chujio was also puzzled. Although she had sent Xiao He out, she only asked it to think of a way to destroy the array core. Who was the one who set the fire? Yun Chujio suddenly had a thought. Could it be the potential stock that I invested in? It was most likely done by Ziheng. This kid was quite smart. He knew to surround Wei to save Zhao, but don't get caught. You are my future money tree and mascot. Don't die just like that. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes. She said loudly, "Disciples of the Gui Yuan sect and disciples of the Yin family, listen up. You are all people from the Tian Yuan continent. You followed Qin Yixiao and Yin Qinghua to help the wicked. Don't you feel pain and struggle in your hearts? Your family and friends are all from the Tian Yuan continent. Once we all die, do you think the Nether Hall will keep their word if they take over the Tian Yuan continent? You will all die in the end. Do you know why you are on fire? This is God's warning to you. If you are still stubborn, maybe God will send down lightning to strike you. As expected, after hearing Yun Chujia's words, the disciples of the Guiyuan sect and the Yin family had a slight commotion. They were naturally unwilling to do so from the bottom of their hearts. They were just following the arrangements of the higher-ups. Qin Mingzhu immediately said, "Don't listen to Yun Chujia's nonsense. A good man's ambition is everywhere. As long as we kill them, the influence of the Guiyuan sect and the Yin family will expand endlessly. At that time, all of you will have a meteoric rise. With money and power, are you afraid that you won't be able to take care of your family and friends?" When those people heard Qin Mingzhu's words, their initially wavering thoughts turned towards the Netherworld Palace. The eldest miss was right. As long as we have money and power in our hands, who cares about their conscience? Yun Chujia's eyes deepened. "Io, are you comparing words with me? Little bitch, look at how I've tricked these people into betraying us today." This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Yun Chujio sighed. "Originally, your life and death have nothing to do with me. However, I have always been a soft-hearted person. I cannot just stand by and watch as you are deceived by Qin Mingzhu. I will only ask you one thing. Do you think that in the future, you will be on equal footing with the people of the Netherworld Palace? Let's not talk about the distance. Let's talk about the people in front of you. Their food is much higher than yours. Now, it is you who are charging into the battle. The people of the Netherworld Palace are sitting back and enjoying the fruits of their labor. No matter how foolish you are. You should understand how high and low your status is, right? Right now, all of you are still useful to me. If I were to treat all of you like this, it can be imagined that in the future, once all of the powers like the Temple of Immortals are eliminated, your fate will either be lower than others or you will be killed to keep your mouths shut. If you don't want to be good people, do you really have to be the servants of the Netherworld Palace? Moreover, do you think that the money and power that you have obtained will be enjoyed by your family and friends in peace? Do you still have the face to meet your ancestors in the future? Most importantly, do you think that you can succeed? Admittedly, we are trapped by you now, but are you confident that you can kill us before the reinforcements arrive? These mighty figures only did not use their full strength because they thought that they were all compatriots. Otherwise, just the poison of Old Man Bai Li alone could kill you. Elders of the Guiyuan sect and the Yin family, do you really believe in the actions of Qin Yixiao and Yin Qinghua? Now is the time for you to step forward. As long as you capture them, the Guiyuan sect and the Yin family will return to the right path. Otherwise, the tens of thousands of years of foundation of the Guiyuan sect and the Yin family will be destroyed in an instant. All of you, immediately abandon the dark and join the light. I, Yun Chujio, swear on my life that I will let bygones be bygones. I will give all of you 15 minutes to consider. Once the time limit is up, even if all of you want to abandon the darkness and join the light, we will not accept it." When Yun Chujio said this, Qin Mingzhu wanted to interrupt her several times. However, Yun Chujio's speed of speech was really too fast. Moreover, her voice was very clear, and everyone present could hear it clearly. Those mighty figures were all shocked to the point that they were dumbfounded. Damn, this little girl actually didn't even pause after saying so much. What kind of brain did she have? Bai Li Qingshan's face turned red. Although he was the medicine king, poison had a limited effect on cultivators. Unless it was taken by surprise or eaten directly, the moment the defensive barrier was opened. The poison basically had no effect. The reason why everyone was affected this time was firstly because the netherworld dispersion was colorless and tasteless. There was no way to distinguish it. Secondly, no one had expected that the Guiyuan sect and Yin clan had colluded with the Netherworld Palace. They were all caught off guard and fell into the trap. After the people from Guiyuan sect and Yin clan heard Yun Chujio's words, many people immediately hesitated, especially some elders. Their positions in Guiyuan sect and Yin clan were not low to begin with. They were not willing to take such a risk and become enemies with the entire Tianyuan continent. Moreover, if they betrayed them now, they could use this opportunity to get rid of Qin Yixiao and Yin Qinghua. Perhaps, they would be able to rise to the top. This was truly a good opportunity. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes. She decided to put in more effort. To tell you the truth, His Excellency and young Master Wuji will be arriving with reinforcements soon. Do you think you still have a chance of winning? Are you going to be prisoners or are you going to be upright? Good and evil can be done in a moment. It's still not too late to rein in our horses. As long as we combine our forces, it will be easy for us to deal with the people of the Netherworld Palace. What are you waiting for? Come on, well, kill them both inside and out. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. An elder of the Guiyuan sect made up his mind. He shouted loudly, Yun Chujio is right. We are all people from the Tianyuan continent. Why should we collude with the people from the Netherworld Palace? We cannot continue to make mistakes. If we kill them, we will still be upright people. Otherwise, we will never be able to hold our heads up high again. An elder from the side branch of the Yin family also echoed and shouted, That's right, we cannot help the evil and kill the people from the Netherworld Palace. The reason why these two people stood out was naturally because they had their own selfish motives. They had long coveted the position of the sect leader. After listening to Yun Chujio's words just now, they were moved. As long as they killed Qin Yixiao and Yin Qinghua, they would be able to rise to the position, they would be able to take over the position. When the two elders said this, some of the people who were originally unwilling to collude with the Hall of the Netherworld immediately started to make a ruckus. Everyone had the mentality of following the crowd. Immediately, many people who were somewhat uncertain also decided to turn against them. Qin Yixiao and Yin Qinghua were so angry that they gritted their teeth and shouted loudly, Don't be stupid. As long as we capture these hostages, Di Baiming and Shui Wuji will not be able to break in. Don't forget, we still have the sect protecting formation. At this moment, the crowd was so excited that they did not listen to them. Moreover, Di Linhan and the others saw the right opportunity and rushed out of the courtyard, heading straight for Qin Yixiao and Yin Qinghua. Both sides were engaged in a chaotic battle. However, the situation had been completely reversed. Although Qin Yixiao and Yin Qinghua still had some direct descendants, Yun Chujio's side had completely gained the upper hand. At this moment, Dharma Protector Zhao shouted, Blood sacrifice. The hundreds of people from the Netherworld Hall bit their index fingers almost at the same time. Although some of their chanting was interrupted, most of them still finished chanting. As their chanting ended, they began to use the power of the Netherworld to attack. The situation instantly reversed again. The spiritual power attacks of the cultivators from the Tianyuan continent were completely unable to resist the power of the Netherworld. However, once they were attacked by the power of the Netherworld, the cold air penetrated into their bones and their combat strength was greatly reduced. Don't use your spiritual power to attack them, just use your spiritual weapon to attack. Yun Chujio shouted loudly. Only then did everyone react and took out their spiritual weapons to attack. Although the power of the spiritual weapon attack was not as powerful as the materialization of spiritual power, but fortunately, there were many people on the Tianyuan continent's side and they were able to block the counterattack of the Netherworld Palace. The two sides were in a stalemate for a moment. However, on the whole, the Tianyuan continent's side still had the advantage. Moreover, Yun Chujio had already asked Di Linhan to bring people to destroy the array core. After the array core was destroyed, once Di Baiming and Shui Wuji's reinforcements arrived. Even if the people from the Netherworld Palace had the power of the Netherworld, they would definitely be defeated. Father, it's already at this moment. You shouldn't hide anymore. Let that thing out. These people deserve to die. Qin Ming's expression was ferocious. The plan that was supposed to be foolproof had been ruined by that bitch Yun Chujio. She really deserved to die. Qin Yixiao hesitated for a moment before gritting his teeth. Under the cover of the direct descendants, he started to form seals and a ferocious beast head appeared in midair. Shui Li immediately cried out in surprise, Qin Yixiao, have you gone mad? The few elders of the Guiyuan sect also turned pale with fright. Qin Yixiao, are you trying to destroy the Guiyuan sect? Qin Yixio's eyes were red. He laughed ferociously. You guys forced me to do this. It's fine if I don't want the Gui Yuan sect. As long as I kill all of you, I can completely establish another super sect. All of you, listen up. Those who want to live, surrender immediately. Otherwise, none of you will survive. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Everyone stopped their attacks and raised their heads to look at the sky. The beast head in the sky looked like a tiger's head, but it had 2 horns. Moreover, everyone could feel that the spiritual energy in the air was disappearing rapidly, and the spiritual energy that had disappeared was absorbed by the huge beast head. As it absorbed more and more spiritual energy, its body also appeared and became more and more solid. It even had a pair of huge wings on its back. Xue Li and the others were frightened. They roared angrily, Qin Xiao, your Guyuan sect's original duty was to suppress the remnant soul of this fierce beast, but you actually refined it into your soul beast. You are going against the will of heaven. Qin Xiao threw his head back and laughed. Going against the will of heaven? This Guyuan sect doesn't belong to me. So what if I destroy it? You are all my enemies. So what if I kill you? How can this be called going against the will of heaven? This is called obeying the will of heaven. Qiongqi, kill them. Yun Chujio was shocked. This was Qiongqi? One of the 4 great beasts, Qiongqi? It was similar to the one in the records. She didn't expect Qin Yixiao to have such a trump card. It was really difficult to deal with. After hearing Qin Yixio's words, Qiongqi flapped its huge wings and pounced towards the people from the Tianyuan continent. Everyone was so scared that they ran in all directions. However, not only did Qiongqi have a huge body, it also had a pair of wings. In the blink of an eye, he had killed over 100 people. The eyes of Dharma Protector Zhao from the Netherworld Hall flickered a few times. He did not expect that the old thing Qin Yixiao would actually leave behind such a move. He did not expect that he actually knew the method of a soul beast. In the future, after he had conquered the Tianyuan continent, he had to think of a way to get this soul beast of his over. Otherwise, it would be a big trouble. The people from the Tianyuan continent were naturally not willing to sit still and wait for death. They used their spirit energy to attack that Qiongqi with all their might. However, there was a huge disparity in strength. Moreover, there were still the people from the Netherworld Hall. The people from the Tianyuan continent were completely in a passive position. Qin Yixiao revealed a smug smile on his face. It turned out that he was worried about the destruction of the Gui Yuan sect. Now, he no longer had any worries. With the help of the Qiongqi, even if Di Baiming and Xue Wuji rushed in, they would be sending themselves to their deaths. Another half an hour passed. Almost half of the people of the Tianyuan continent were dead or injured. That Qiongqi let out a strange cry, as if killing people was its greatest pleasure. Yun Chujio knew that if this continued, even if Di Baiming and Xue Wuji rushed in, it would be useless. She had to take care of this Qiongqi first. Yun Chujio thought that it was a pity that the Tao Wu that she took in before was only a remnant soul and not her soul beast. Otherwise, she could let it help her. Yun Chujio recalled the records of the Qiongqi in the ancient books. In the end, they all came down to 4 words: punish good and punish evil. This Qiongqi loved evil people and hated good people. Could she make something out of this? Yun Chujio rolled her eyes and suddenly shouted, Qiongqi, stop! I want to talk to you. Qiongqi was in the middle of killing people. When it heard Yun Chujio calling it, it opened its bloody mouth and bit Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio rolled on the ground and barely dodged Qiongqi's attack. She gritted her teeth. Damn it, it was indeed a fierce beast. It did not even give her a chance to speak. Since that was the case, let's see just how tough you are. Yun Chujio threw over a dozen sudden rupture talismans that she had obtained from Di Linhan towards Qiongqi's big mouth. Qiongqi did not dodge at all. In its eyes, these humans were simply too weak and did not have the ability to resist at all. After a few loud explosions, Qiongqi let out a roar that shook the heavens. Yun Chujio's explosion caused Qiongqi's entire figure to become a little fainter. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, Please visit for more content. Damn it. Cheong-chi, you ugly freak. Look at your cowardly appearance. You don't look like a tiger nor a dragon, you're just a fool. How can you be called a fierce beast when you're cowardly after saving you? I think you're just a fool. Yun Chujio cursed while holding a stack of super-grade explosive talismans in her hand. Qin Mingzhu stood at the side and sneered. Yun Chujio was really courting death. Cheong-chi hated her to death, yet she still dared to scold Cheong-chi. Cheong-chi would definitely kill her before giving up. Everyone had the same thoughts as Qin Mingzhu. Had Yun Chujio been provoked to the point of going crazy? It was already scary enough that Cheong-chi was not angry, yet you still provoked it. Wasn't this courting death? No one expected that Cheong-chi actually stopped attacking. Its huge eyes looked at Yun Chujio. Little ant, what do you want to say to me? Everyone was dumbfounded. Was this Cheong-chi sick? Just now, when Yun Chujio was talking to it, it ignored Yun Chujio and attacked Yun Chujio instead. Yun Chujio blew it up and scolded it again. Instead, it wanted to listen to Yun Chujio's words. Could it be that it liked to be abused? Yun Chujio was not too surprised. It seemed that what was recorded in the ancient books was right. This Cheong-chi liked evildoers. I have to cater to its interests. What do I want to say? I want to say that you are a brainless idiot. Your huge stature is simply wasted. Since you are a fierce beast, you should have the appearance of a fierce beast. What is the use of killing so many people? Can this reflect your identity as a fierce beast? You are a retard. You are a retard. Yun Chujio scolded fiercely. Cheong-chi was stunned by the scolding. His huge eyeballs rolled around. Little ant, isn't killing people considered fierce? Is there anything worse than this? You're really stupid. What's so great about killing a person? Do you see what I'm holding in my hand? These talismans are so light when it comes to killing people. You're an ancient beast, yet you have the same use as these talismans. Tell me, what's the point of you being alive? You're a waste. Yun Chujio's small face was full of ridicule. Yin Xuecheng saw that Cheong-chi's behavior was somewhat abnormal. He was afraid that it would be fooled by Yun Chujio, so he shouted loudly, Sir Cheong-chi, don't listen to that stupid girl's nonsense. Hurry up and kill her. Cheong-chi was thinking about what Yun Chujio said when he was interrupted by Yin Xuecheng's shout. He directly slapped Yin Xuecheng to death with his claws. When Yin Qingba saw that his son was slapped to death, he was instantly enraged. Qin Yixiao, you actually allowed your soul beast to kill Xuecheng. I'll fight it out with you. Qin Yixio's heart was like a dog that was bickering. Your son was killed by Cheong-chi for no reason. Are you blaming me? Fortunately, Yin Qinghua was still clear-headed. He shouted, Second brother, with a great enemy in front of us, we should consider the overall situation. Yin Qingba thought of the situation in front of him. Even if he went forward, he was still no match for Qin Yixiao. All he had to do was to grit his teeth and remain silent. Yun Chujio was secretly happy. Damn, this Cheong-chi was really awesome. Before anything happened, he had already helped me kill one. Moreover, he had even caused a rift between Qin Yixiao and the Yin family. This Cheong-chi was really not bad. Cheong-chi did not care about Yin Xuecheng's death at all. It asked Yun Chujio doubtfully, Little ant, then tell me, what kind of thing is worthy of my identity as a fierce beast? Of course it is worthy of a world-shaking event. For example, you killed Tao Tai, Tao Wu, and Hun Dun. You killed all three fierce beasts, so you are naturally the most powerful fierce beast. Yun Chujio said with a smile. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Hearing Yun Chujio's words, Cheong-chi said impatiently, What you said is nonsense. Killing them is of course a big deal, but where can I find them? Besides, I'm already a remnant soul, how can I kill them? You're really stupid. Since I said so, I naturally know their whereabouts. Yun Chujio said with her mouth curled. Cheong-chi's eyes immediately widened. You know? Where are they? They're not dead? That shouldn't be. I remember they're all dead. Of course they're all dead, but they have remnant souls just like you. Yun Chujio said in an idiotic tone. Cheong-chi didn't care at all. Instead, it felt that such a tone was more cordial. It said with a slightly flattering tone, "Then tell me, where are they?" Cheong-chi, I say, do you really have no brain? Why should I tell you? Is there anything good in this world? Those who help others are all idiots. Cheong-chi felt that what she said was really right. That was, only evil people should survive. Good people should die. This little girl really won my heart. Then how can you tell me their whereabouts? It's very simple. You have to do a big evil thing to make me satisfied. Yun Chujio said with a fake smile. The expression on her face was as sinister as it could be. Everyone was dumbfounded. Why did Yun Chujio suddenly look like a different person? Her expression was really too sinister and scary. Cheong-chi liked it very much. He could not wait to ask, what kind of evil thing can satisfy you? Yun Chujio raised her eyebrows and said two words indifferently, killing the master. Killing the master? Cheong-chi was stunned. Then he laughed strangely, little ant. You are really talented. Killing the master is the most exciting thing to do. Everyone thought that there was something wrong with their ears, or else there was something wrong with Cheong-chi's brain. Too talented? Yun Chujio is trying to trick you into killing Qin Yixiao. You are just a soul beast. If Qin Yixiao dies, wouldn't you be finished? Are you stupid? Qin Yixiao immediately shouted, Cheong-chi. If I die, you will die too. Yun Chujio is trying to trick you. Why don't you kill her quickly? Qin Yixiao felt that if he had exposed Yun Chujio's trap, Cheong-chi would definitely kill Yun Chujio in anger. He did not expect that Cheong-chi would actually put on a fawning look. He said to Yun Chujio, Little fairy, I, Cheong-chi, have lived for hundreds of thousands of years. This is the first time I have met such a sinister and cunning person like you. I really like you. Everyone almost fainted. Oh God, is it because we are inexperienced, or is this Cheong-chi too strange? Is it sick? Not only is it not angry, it actually said that it likes Yun Chujio very much. Hundreds of divine beasts whizzed past Yun Chujio's heart. Damn, this Cheong-chi really rewards evil and punishes good to the extreme. I have to continue to deceive it. Pooey. Is a fool like you worthy of liking me? Hurry up and kill Qin Yixiao? Think about it, how could those three fierce beasts be as bad as you? They actually killed their own master. It's really too bad. Only then would they be worthy of your reputation as an ancient fierce beast. Cheong-chi raised its huge claws and scratched its head. It was obviously somewhat conflicted. Killing its master was naturally a big bad thing. However, after killing its master, it would die. Would it do it or not? Yun Chujio blinked her eyes, she sneered and said, I say you're stupid, you're really stupid. If you were afraid of death, wouldn't you have killed your master's allies first? Although this isn't considered a great evil, it's still okay. Right? Doesn't he have a daughter? If you kill master's daughter, it's also considered a great evil. Cheong-chi was enlightened immediately. Little fairy, you have more evil tricks. You're right. I'll kill them first, then consider whether to kill master or not. After saying that, Cheong-chi gave Qin Mingzhu a claw. Qin Mingzhu used all her strength to leap away from Cheong-chi's attack. Qin Yixiao quickly blocked Qin Mingzhu behind him. Cheong-chi said angrily, Cheong-chi, aren't you afraid that I'll punish you? You're just my soul beast. Your spiritual sense has my spiritual sense imprint. If you continue to make trouble, I'll kill you. Cheong-chi laughed strangely. You are protecting your daughter. This is the relationship between father and daughter. I hate the relationship between humans. I will kill your accomplice first, and then I will kill your daughter. After saying that, Cheong-chi did not continue to chase after Qin Mingzhu. Instead, he pounced towards the Netherworld Palace, Yin Qingba, and the others. The people from the Netherworld Palace were about to cry. Qin Yixiao, Qin Yixiao, the person you released was not our helper, but Yun Chujio's helper. Is there something wrong with this damn Cheong-chi's head? Yun Chujio tried to fool it, but it actually fell for it. It was really brainless. No matter how much they cursed in their hearts, it was useless. Qiongqi's lethality was really too great. Although the power of the Netherworld was somewhat hindering it, the people of the Netherworld Hall also suffered heavy casualties. Dharma Protector Zhao cursed angrily, "Qini Xiao, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and kill this damn thing. Otherwise we will all die." Qin Yixiao was still a little hesitant. He really could not bear to part with Qiongqi, this great killing weapon. However, seeing that the situation had gone out of control, he could only use the spiritual imprint hidden in Qiongqi's remnant soul to prepare to kill Qiongqi. Seeing the situation, Yun Chujio shouted, "Qiongqi, you idiot! He wants to kill you, why don't you hurry up and kill him? At least before you die, you can still do such a terrible thing like killing your master." Hearing Yun Chujio's words, Qiongqi gave Qin Yixiao a claw. After Qin Yixiao dodged, he used his spiritual imprint. Qiongqi's huge body started to tremble, but it still continued to attack Qin Yixiao. Yun Chujio's eyes flashed, and she jumped forward to attack Qin Yixiao with several small spiritual pigs. Xue Li and the others also reacted and started to attack the remaining people of the Netherworld Hall. Even though Qiongqi's figure had already begun to fade, he still roared loudly, taking advantage of others' danger. "Little fairy, you are indeed a great villain." Yun Chujio did not know whether she should cry or laugh. This Qiongqi was really a clown. Qin Yixiao had to divert his attention to deal with Yun Chujio, so the speed of wiping out Qiongqi had slowed down. Qiongqi's ferocity was aroused, and he gave Qin Yixiao a claw. Qin Yixiao hurriedly dodged. His intestines were green with regret. He originally thought that it was to release a great killing weapon, but he didn't expect that although the great killing weapon was a great killing weapon, it was a great killing weapon that didn't help. It was simply infuriating. Qiongqi only had one goal in his heart, and that was to kill his master. Only in this way could he be worthy of the infamous name of the ancient fierce beast. Therefore, he ignored the danger of his remnant soul dissipating and attacked Qin Yixiao with his left claw and right claw. How could Qin Yixiao be a match for Qiongqi? After a few rounds, he was killed by Qiongqi's claws. Qiongqi laughed evilly, "Ha, ha, I did it. I finally succeeded in killing my master. I'm the leader of the beasts." Yun Chujio's eyes flashed. Should I accept this idiot? Yun Chujio thought of the Tao Wu that she had accepted before. It was also a troublesome product. She might as well accept this idiot and use it to restrain Tao Wu in the future. Yun Chujio thought of this and secretly took out an ancient green jade bottle. She opened the bottle cap and hid the jade bottle in her sleeve, then she shouted to Qiongqi, "Qiongqi, you have succeeded in killing your master. You are barely worthy of the name of a ferocious beast now. You can rest assured and die." Qiongqi's figure had now become the size of a calf, and it was very faint. Hearing Yun Chujio's words, Qiongqi laughed strangely, "Little girl, you are indeed evil. I like you very much. Before I die, I will also take you away." As Qiongqi said that, he rushed towards Yun Chujio. Everyone could not help but be dumbfounded. "Yun Chujio, do you owe me?" This Qiongqi was about to disappear completely. "Why did you provoke it?" But now, it wanted to drag you down with it. The most shocking thing was that Yun Chujio did not dodge. She even waved at Qiongqi, "Bah, go and die. I haven't lived long enough. Look at my little Jio's thunderbolt." Yun Chujio raised her right hand and shot a purple lightning at Qiongqi. Qiongqi did not expect Yun Chujio to suddenly attack and was struck by the lightning. Qiongqi let out a miserable cry, You are really bad. You are even worse than us beasts." Then, everyone realized that Qiongqi had disappeared. Everyone thought that Qiongqi's soul had already dispersed. Yun Chujio secretly plugged the bottle cap and then put away the ancient jade bottle. Qiongqi and Qin Yixiao were both dead. The people of the Tianyuan continent naturally would not let the remaining people off. Furthermore, the array core of the sect protection formation had already been destroyed. Di Baiming and Xue Wuji had also rushed over with reinforcements. Qin Ming's expression was ferocious as she rushed towards Yun Chujio. Bitch. It's all because of you. If it wasn't for you, my family wouldn't have been destroyed. I want to kill you. Yun Chujio said indifferently, Qin Mingju, did I ask you to drug me? Did I ask you to incite your father to collude with the Netherworld Hall? Your selfishness and vanity harmed yourself and your father. Therefore, the main culprit for all of this is your greed and viciousness. No. You're talking nonsense. It's all your fault. I'm going to kill you. Qin Mingju attacked Yun Chujio as if she was crazy. Yun Chujio sneered. She was too lazy to fight with Qin Mingju. She directly said to Bai Li, who was beside her, Old Master Medicine King, I'll leave this little bitch to you. I'm too tired. Bai Li Qing Tian. Although Bai Li Qing Tian's heart was like a muttering dog, he could only follow Yun Chujio's instructions and slap Qin Mingju. Qin Mingju was no match for Bai Li Qing Tian. In just a few rounds, she was killed by Bai Li Qing Tian. Yin Qinghua and Yin Qingbo were also killed by Shui Li and the others. Only the people of the Netherworld Hall were still struggling with the power of the Netherworld. However, it was only a matter of time before they were killed. This was because their number was much smaller than the number of people on the Tianyuan continent. Dharma Protector Zhao gritted his teeth. It seemed that the tide had already turned. It was better to save his life than to leave the Green Mountain with nothing to burn. Thinking of this, Dharma Protector Zhao bit his index finger and formed a seal with his hands, disappearing from the spot. Once Dharma Protector Zhao left, the remaining members of the Netherworld Hall were leaderless. Soon, they were either killed or captured by Di Baiming and the others. The catastrophe that was supposed to be on the Tianyuan continent came to an end just like that. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. However, Yun Chujio was feeling a little uneasy. The method that Dharma Protector Zhao used to disappear was extremely similar to the secret technique of the Divine Devil Hall. Could it be that this so-called Hall of the Netherworld was related to the Divine Devil Hall? Although Yun Chujio was feeling uneasy, she still had to deal with the aftermath first. She could only temporarily put this matter to the back of her mind. Everyone began to clean up the battlefield. Shui Wuji jumped in front of Yun Chujio. Little Sister Jiao, you're too ungrateful. You've solved all the problems, making me look so useless. Originally, I wanted to kill everyone, but now, I'm not helping at all. Yun Chujio smiled brightly. Brother Wuji, there's nothing I can do. Who asked me to be so amazing? Now, even dark clouds can't hide my talent. When everyone heard that, Yun Chujio's glorious image in their hearts instantly crumbled. Little Fairy Jiao, is it really all right for you to be so narcissistic? The aftermath of the incident could not be completed in a day or two. After this incident, the Gui Yuan sect and the Yin family had to re-elect the family head. If things went wrong, there might even be an internal conflict. Yun Chujio and the others naturally could not interfere, so they all bid their goodbyes. The few elders of the Gui Yuan sect urged them to stay, and then they took the opportunity to agree. They did not have the mood to entertain these people at the moment, so they were fully prepared to fight for the position of sect leader. Yun Chujio thought of Ziheng and his son, so she said to the few elders of the Gui Yuan sect, Elders, I have a presumptuous request. I wonder if you will agree? The few elders' hearts trembled. They had long heard that this Yun Chujio was a wild goose that plucked feathers. What request did she have? Could it be that she wanted to blackmail us? However, the Gui Yuan sect was in the wrong in this matter. The few elders had no choice but to bite the bullet and ask, Little Fairy Jiao, if you have any requests, feel free to mention them. What are you all so nervous about? Don't worry, I don't want money. I just want 2 people from you. Manager's son and his son from the canteen are old acquaintances of mine. I want to take them away. You won't disagree, right? Yun Chujio said with a smile. The elders heaved a sigh of relief. It turned out that they only wanted 2 people. Moreover, there was only 1 cook and 1 cripple. What was the big deal? Just give them to her. Little Fairy Jiao is really too polite. Since they are old acquaintances of yours, then you can take them away. Men, call manager's son and his son over. take their identity jade tokens and let them leave with little fairy Geo. Very quickly, manager's son and his mother were brought over. Di Linhan and the others were initially puzzled as to why Yun Chujio wanted a pair of servants, but when they saw that delicate and handsome youth, they had a little understanding in their hearts. Although this youth's legs were not very agile. But this calm and bearing did not seem like an ordinary person, he probably had a background. Manager's son was scared silly by what had happened today. Fortunately, Ziheng was there to comfort them. Yun Chujio smiled at them and said, "Aunt's son, Ziheng, come with me." Manager's son realized that the little girl in front of him was not Daybreak at all. His heart was in a mess. What was going on? Ziheng smiled faintly and nodded. He took manager's son's hand and stood behind Yun Chujio. Lan Xiang and the servants who had bullied Yun Chujio were trembling with fear at this moment. They were afraid that Yun Chujio would find trouble with them. Yun Chujio only glanced at them and ignored them. These small figures were not worth her revenge at all. After the few elders of Guiyuan sect sent off Yun Chujio and the others, the first thing they did was to find the bodies of Qin Yixiao and Qin Mingzhu. Their purpose was very clear. They wanted to find their storage rings. Many of the Guiyuan sect's treasures and spirit stones should be in the hands of the father and daughter. However, what shocked them was that their hands were empty and there were no storage rings at all. Could it be that someone was taking advantage of the situation? After interrogating the disciples, no one saw anyone stealing the rings. It was really strange. Where did their rings go? The members of the Yin family were also furious. Yin Qinghua and Yin Qingba's storage rings had also disappeared without a trace. The elders of the Guiyuan sect and the Yin family immediately began to blame each other. They all suspected that the other party had taken advantage of the chaos to take advantage of the ring and almost started a fight. Then, where did the rings of the four of them go? Cough cough, of course, they were taken away by Yun Chujio, the Yenghua plucking the feathers. While others were fighting, this guy covered for Xiaohei and took away Qin Yixiao and the others' rings. This guy was very confident. She had solved the disaster in the Tianyuan continent, so it was reasonable for her to take away such a small reward. This guy secretly looked at the things in the ring. He was so happy that he couldn't close his mouth. He was rich. Qin Yixiao and Yin Qinghua were both suspicious people, so they naturally carried the good things with them. Therefore, there were naturally a lot of good things in the storage ring. Little sister Jiao, what are you smiling about? Shui Wuji asked curiously. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes. I'm naturally happy that the crisis is over. Di Baiming guessed correctly in his heart. Little Jiao must have gotten some good stuff again. However, what was up with that Ziheng? An old acquaintance? Where did she get an old acquaintance from? As the Tianyuan Academy was about to start in a few days, Yun Chujio decided to return to Tianyuan Academy directly. Although Di Baiming was reluctant, he could not stop her. Prince Charming, Aunt Sun and Ziheng will temporarily return to the Hall of Immortals with you. Aunt Sun's pasta is not bad, you can let her go to the canteen. As for Ziheng, you can make the arrangements. They have helped me a lot, you have to take care of them for me. Yun Chujio said to Di Baiming. Di Baiming nodded. Little Jiao, the spies in the Hall of the Netherworld have made some progress. We should be able to get the portraits of Xing and Vi and the man in a while. They'll come and look for you then. Yun Chujio said in surprise, Really? That's great. I think there's a high chance that they are my adoptive parents. After we confirm them, we can discuss how to save them. The two of them chatted for a while more before parting. Shui Wuji jumped over. Little sister Jiao, I'll escort you back to Tianyuan Academy. Yun Chujio looked at him suspiciously. Brother Wuji, why do I feel that your drunken intentions aren't in the wine? What danger can I face if I go back with Dean Huangfu and the others? Shui Wuji's eyes flickered and revealed an aggrieved expression. Little sister Jiao, how can you misunderstand my good intentions? You've really made brother too sad. Alright, it's my fault. Let's go. Let's go. Yun Chujio curled her lips. Wuji must be hiding something from me. However, since he didn't say anything, I couldn't be bothered to ask. After all, he wouldn't harm me. A few days later, everyone returned to the Tian Yuan Academy. Shui Wuji strolled around the Tian Yuan Academy for a while before using the bait to leave. Yun Chujio curled her lips and ignored him. Shui Wuji brought secret protector Hua Hua to the mansion in Void City. Several secret guards appeared and knelt on the ground. Shui Wuji gritted his teeth and asked, "Still no news of that woman? She hasn't come back either?" "Young master, we've searched almost all of Void City, but there's still no news of that woman. We've also searched the surrounding cities, but there's still no trace of her. A bunch of trash. Where can a person without spiritual power run to? Keep looking. If you still can't find her within half a year, you don't have to come back to see me," Shui Wuji said in exasperation. Over the past 2 months, Shui Wuji had often thought of that woman and that seductive night. The more he could not find her, the more he wanted to find her. Damn woman. When I find you, I will definitely teach you a good lesson. You slept with me and did not admit to it after putting on your clothes. How could such a good thing happen? This time, Shui Wuji came to Idol City with a trace of luck in his heart. Perhaps that damn woman would see him and come to find him. The facts proved that Shui Wuji was overthinking things. He lingered in Idol City for a few days, but there was no news of that woman. Shui Li kept urging him to return to the Blood Demon sect, so he could only leave Idol City with a disappointed expression. Before Shui Wuji left, he went to say goodbye to Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio could see that he had something on his mind, so she asked a few more questions. Shui Wuji gave her an excuse. Shui Wuji thought to himself, "I was actually raped by a woman, and I even put on my clothes and ran away. I can't even say such a shameful thing even if I'm beaten to death. Let's talk about it after I find that damn woman." Seeing that Shui Wuji wasn't willing to say anything, Yun Chujio couldn't ask any more questions. She waved her little handkerchief and sent Shui Wuji away. Deputy Dean Yin and Yin Sulian didn't go to Guyuan sect that day. They claimed that they knew nothing about the Yin family colluding with the Netherworld Hall, and they didn't have any real evidence, so they weren't punished. Deputy Dean Yin was still the Deputy Dean of Tianyuan Academy, and Yin Sulian still came to school as scheduled. However, Yin Sulian had lost the halo of the Yin family's second young miss, so those lackeys would naturally stop supporting her. It would be good enough if they did not take the opportunity to step on her. Yin Sulian seemed to have changed into a completely different person. She spent all her time cultivating except for class. When she met Yun Chujio, she also lowered her head to avoid her, but her lowered eyes seemed to have been poisoned. "Yun Chujio, you caused me to lose everything. Sooner or later, I will kill you for revenge." "Master, why didn't you kill that little bitch Yin Sulian, and that old bastard, Deputy Dean Yin?" Xiao Hanio asked in puzzlement. He did not believe that his black-hearted master would believe their nonsense. Of course, it's to bait the big fish with a long line. The people of the Netherworld Palace will not let this go. If they want to find an insider again, that old bastard, Yin Haoyu, is the best target. Yin Sulian is a brainless person. When the time comes, we can find a breakthrough from her. As long as we let people keep an eye on them, we will be able to learn about the Netherworld Palace's conspiracy. Moreover, we might even be able to use them to pass on some fake news. Just thinking about it is very wonderful. Yun Chujio said with a smile. At this moment, the little black bird agreed with what Qiongqi said. This black-hearted master was really full of evil tricks. Yun Chujio told Dean Huangfu about her intention. Dean Huangfu immediately arranged for people to keep an eye on Deputy Dean Yin and Yin Sulian. Once there was any movement, they would report it to him. Yun Chujio was most troubled by the fact that her spiritual power level had been stuck at the 8th level of the Spirit Saint realm, and she was still unable to break through to the Spiritual Venerable realm. If she reached the Spiritual Venerable realm, she could at least go back to the Qingxian continent and show off. No, she could at least go back and visit her relatives and friends. Moreover, only when she reached the Spiritual Venerable realm could she learn more skills from the old man. However, why didn't this damn heavenly lightning strike her? Yun Chujio thought for a long time and finally came up with a bad idea. This fellow came to her courtyard and after opening the isolation array, he took out the ancient green jade bottle containing Tao Wu and Qiong Qi. Holding one in each hand, he raised his head and shouted towards the sky, "Tian Dao, old bastard, look at what I'm holding in my hand." Old bastard, I am holding the remnant souls of the ancient beasts Tao Wu and Qiong Qi. Are you just going to stand there and do nothing? If I accidentally turn these two into my soul beasts, wouldn't you be unable to kill me? Aren't you going to send heavenly lightning to strike me? Yun Chujio said arrogantly. Tao Wu and Qiong Qi, who were inside the ancient jade bottle, were instantly dumbfounded. Tao Wu's thoughts, fuck, this damned brat, has she gone crazy? If she were to attract the heavenly lightning, I won't be able to live and she won't be able to live either. Qiong Qi's thoughts, oh my god. This little fairy is really too evil. I really like her to the point of no return. If I can die together with her, it wouldn't be too bad. Needless to say, Yun Chujia's evil trick really worked. Not long after, the sky darkened. Yun Chujia's heart was filled with joy as she took the two green jade bottles and ran towards Dean Huangfu's courtyard. In fact, she didn't need to hide it anymore. After all, everyone knew how abnormal she was now. She wasn't afraid of being struck by lightning. However, she thought to herself that if her courtyard was struck by lightning, she would have to clean it up. It was better to let the heavenly lightning strike old man Huangfu's courtyard. Yun Chujio ran to Dean Huangfu's courtyard. Dean Huangfu was already waiting in the courtyard. When he saw that the sky suddenly turned dark, he guessed that the little freak was about to break through. Dean Huangfu opened the isolation array with ease. He took out a chair and sat in the corner. He even took out a lot of spirit potatoes and threw them to Yun Chujio. The corner of Yun Chujio's eyes twitched. Did he really treat her like a roasted spirit potato? The students of Tianyuan Academy were also used to it. Yun Chujio was definitely going to be struck again. Only the freshmen were dumbfounded. Why did the sky suddenly darken? Wu Yun quickly gathered above Dean Huangfu's courtyard. The immense pressure was suffocating. However, Yun Chujio's face was full of smiles. Ah, this was great. She was finally going to be struck by lightning again. Boom. A purple heavenly lightning as thick as an arm struck down towards Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio impatiently absorbed the heavenly lightning into her body. Then, she said to the sky, "Little Yun Yun, quick, give me another 10,000 heavenly lightning bolts. Strike me to your heart's content." Wu Yun was helpless in the sky. Who did not know that this pervert could not be struck to death? Even if the strike was very strong, she would still run into the trial tower to avoid it. It was simply infuriating. However, they did not dare not come, so they could only strike down step by step. After striking for a while, they saw an ugly black bird and a Xiao Mogu appear below. They were all waiting to be struck with a look of enjoyment. Wu Yun was so angry that he was about to collapse. He had seen that bird before, but why was there another abnormal Xiao Mogu? As expected, the kind of master had the kind of spirit pet and demonic plant. Dean Huangfu, who was waiting in the corner to roast the spirit potato, was also dumbfounded. Xiao Mogu was not afraid of being struck by lightning? The little abnormal things were indeed abnormal. The heavenly lightning continued for a full 10 hours, from the afternoon until late at night. The students who were watching from afar yawned and left. Only Feng Ming and the others were still waiting in the distance. Although they knew that Yun Chujio would be fine. But they still felt relieved when they saw that she was safe and sound with their own eyes. Finally, the heavenly lightning began to become sparse. Yun Chujio flew out of the pit in high spirits and waved her claws at the dark clouds in the sky. "Not bad, try to strike a little more next time," Wu Yun said. The dark clouds in the sky twitched and flew away while trembling. Tao Wu and Qiong Qi, who had already been put into the spiritual beast bag, waited for a long time without any abnormalities. They were not Yun Chujio's soul beasts, so they naturally could not know the situation outside. The two of them were puzzled. Did the heavenly thunder not come at all? Otherwise, why did nothing happen? Yun Chujio was starving after being struck for a long time. Hence, She took out a chair from her storage ring and sat opposite Dean Huangfu. The old and the young were wolfing down the roasted spiritual potatoes. Dean Huangfu frowned. Little Jiao, why do I see the mark of the Guiyuan sect on this chair? I took it out of convenience. Dean, guess what my spiritual power level is now? Yun Chujiao started to change the topic without batting an eyelid. This guy thought to himself, damn, this broken chair actually has a mark on it. I almost gave it away. I have to be more careful next time. Dean Huangfu's attention was indeed diverted. He did not know that Yun Chujiao had secretly broken through several times. However, he felt that Yun Chujiao must have hidden her strength, so he used his courage to guess. 8th level of the Spirit Saint Realm? Yun Chujiao bared her little white teeth and stretched out 2 fingers. The roasted spirit potato in Dean Huangfu's hand dropped to the ground with a thud. Spirit, 2nd level of the Spirit Paragon Realm? Yun Chujiao nodded with a smile. If it weren't for the damn heavenly lightning that stopped striking, I might have broken through to the next level. Dean Huangfu only had 2 words in his mind, pervert. Yun Chujiao chewed on a few roasted spirit potatoes and clapped her hands. Dean, going back. I wish you a good sleep. After a long while, Dean Huangfu finally came back to his senses. He looked at the few deep pits in the courtyard and shook his head with a bitter smile. This heavenly thunder spirit root was indeed abnormal. In just 2 years, it had actually broken through from the 1st level of the spirit sect to the 2nd level of the Spirit Paragon Realm. Such a speed was simply unheard of. His Excellency and young Master Wuji were already extremely talented. He did not expect that Yun Chujiao would actually be better. It had been a long time since anyone had ascended to a higher level of the Tianyuan continent. Perhaps these 3 people could ascend. Yun Chujiao was in a good mood. She returned to her dormitory under the escort of Feng Ming and the others. This fellow did not care that it was already late at night. He took out his voice transmission talisman and sent a message to Di Baiming. Dear Prince Charming, I have good news for you. I have broken through to the 2nd level of the spiritual venerable realm. In a few days, we can return to the Qingxian continent to show off. Visiting relatives. Not long after, the voice transmission talisman started to vibrate. The corner of Yun Chujia's mouth curled up. The boyfriend who replied instantly was the cutest. Little Jiao, I also have good news for you. My spiritual power has finally broken through. Di Baiming's excited voice came from the voice transmission talisman. Then what is your spiritual power level now? Yun Chujiao asked impatiently. 8th level of the spiritual venerable realm. There was a hint of excitement in Di Baiming's voice. He had been stuck at the 7th level of the spiritual venerable realm for 2 years, and this time he finally succeeded in breaking through. Yun Chujiao said with a slightly sour tone, then congratulations. Perhaps you will ascend very soon. How could Di Baiming understand Yun Chujia's sour mood? He replied with a smile, I hope so. I can only protect you better by becoming stronger. Moreover, when I reach a higher level continent, perhaps I can help you find a way to solve the problem of Guaichao. Yun Chujiao felt a little better after hearing Di Baiming's words. Luckily, the gigolo still had a conscience. However, what would she do if he ascended first? Yun Chujiao hesitated for a moment, then she spat at herself. Yun Chujiao, oh Yun Chujiao, look at you. Don't you even have this bit of confidence? Not to mention that the gigolo just ascended first, even if he became a god first. So what? Worrying about gains and losses is not my character, Yun Chujiao. If the gigolo dares to betray me, I will kill him. It's all this damn Guaichao's fault. If it wasn't for it, would I be able to eat the pretty boy clean? Damn dog's tail. Go Weiba. Guaichao was already used to it. Yun Chujiao would definitely scold it a few hundred times every once in a while, so it could only listen obediently. A few days later, it happened to be the day of rest. Just as Yun Chujiao was considering whether she should go to Long Wind Inn, a student ran over. Yun Chujiao, Lon Luochen is waiting for you at the academy's entrance. He says he has something to ask you. Yun Chujia's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that he had come to take revenge for the 2 white lotuses? The last time she hit Lan Luok's sore spot, it was enough for her to suffer for 3 days and 3 nights. Was this brother standing up for his younger sister? Yun Chujio came to the entrance of the academy and saw a group of female students surrounding Lan Luochen. However, due to his cold expression, no one dared to approach him. When Lan Luochen saw Yun Chujio coming out, a faint smile appeared on his face. Those female students were so mesmerized that they almost fainted. In their hearts, they were extremely envious of Yun Chujio, but they didn't dare to hate her. This guy was simply a great weapon. Unless they didn't want to live anymore, they would only dare to hate her. Lan Lun, are you looking for me? Yun Chujio smiled as she walked to Lan Luchen's side. Yes, let's go to the Drunken Immortal restaurant to talk. It's not very convenient to talk here. Lan Luochen said lightly. Yun Chujio thought about it. It was indeed inconvenient to have so many fangirls here, so she eagerly followed Lan Luochen to the Drunken Immortal restaurant. When the staff of the Drunken Immortal restaurant saw the two of them coming over, especially when they saw Yun Chujio, they were extremely attentive and moved the two of them to the private room on the 2nd floor. After ordering the dishes, Yun Chujio asked, Lan Luchen, why are you looking for me? Are you looking for me to settle the score for your sister and mother? Lan Luochen shook his head. I know my mother and Luok's personalities. I had no idea that they had gone to the Temple of Immortals. If I knew, I would have definitely stopped them. I'm not here to settle the score with you. On the contrary, I'm here to thank you for being lenient and not being ruthless towards them. Yun Chujio was stunned. She did not expect Lan Luochen to say this no matter what she said. She was a little embarrassed that he was so polite. She laughed dryly. Hee, since it's already over, let's not talk about it anymore. What have you been busy with these days? Lan Luchen's eyes flickered slightly. I'm only busy with some family matters. I heard that a few days ago, you resolved another plot of the Netherworld Hall against the Tianyuan continent? Yun Chujio immediately recounted the events with great joy. Of course, there were some places that needed to be modified. For example, the forbidden area of the Temple of Immortals and Zheng's identity as a spirit master. However, this fellow was an expert at lying. There was no problem in justifying himself. Lan Luochen had a faint smile on his face as he listened to Yun Chujio showing off. The color in his eyes turned dark. He had to think of a way to get little Jio. Only by looking at her could he feel the joy of living. Just as Yun Chujio was showing off, a person walked in from outside the door. Yun Chujio was tongue-tied and said with a slight guilty conscience, Prince Charming, why are you here? This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Yun Chujio looked at the expressionless Di Baiming and felt a little guilty. Oh no, she forgot to report it earlier. How could it be so coincidental that she cheated on him? No, she only came out once and was caught by him? What bad luck. Yun Chujio was already prepared for Di Baiming to fly into a rage. She did not expect Di Baiming to only lightly say, I came to see you. Coincidentally, I heard that you and young Master Lan were having a meal here, so I rushed over. Young Master Lan won't mind, right? Lan Luochen and Di Baiming's gazes intertwined in the air. Yun Chujio could faintly feel that there were flames shooting in all directions. Lan Luchen's eyes flashed. Since your esteemed self is willing to give you a favor, I naturally can't wait for it. Waiter, give me another set of cutlery. The waiter sent over a set of cutlery in fear and trepidation. Moreover, he sent over many dishes on his own accord. He stuttered, your esteemed self, these are all given to you by our shop. Di Baiming nodded. It was as if the waiter had received a great favor. He almost jumped out of the room. Yun Chujio pursed her lips. She felt sour in her heart. Seriously, she could be considered a celebrity now. Why didn't he gift her a few dishes? In terms of looks, she was also a beauty that could topple countries and cities. In terms of spiritual power, although she was not as tall as the gigolo, she was still considered pretty good. In terms of contributions, she had also resolved the calamity of the Tianyuan continent, okay? Why did they treat her differently? The more Yun Chujio thought about it, the more she could not figure it out. This fellow simply shouted, "Buddy, come in for a moment." That buddy was in the midst of the excitement of the revered one nodding at him. Yun Chujio shouted several times before he finally reacted and hurriedly entered the private room. "Little Fairy Gio, what are your orders?" Cough cough. "Buddy, there is something that I don't quite understand. You must answer honestly, otherwise, Aichi," Yun Chujio said fiercely. The buddy's legs immediately went soft. Everyone knew that little Fairy Gio was a big killer now. It was said that even Cheong Chi said that she was a bad person. It could be seen how bad she was. He stuttered, Little Fairy Gio, please speak. What are you trembling for? As long as you answer honestly, I won't do anything to you. I'll ask you one thing. Why didn't you give me so many dishes when Venerable Mao came? What is the difference between him and me? Yun Chujio asked with a frown. The corner of D. Baiming's eyes twitched and he started to peel the shrimp shells for Yun Chujio expressionlessly. The waiter was dumbfounded. What kind of question was this? He stammered for a long time but he could not say anything. Only when Yun Chujio threatened him fiercely did the waiter stammer, "Your Excellency is the hero of our Tianyuan continent." Nonsense. Then am I not a hero? I just resolved a great disaster. Yun Chujio said unconvinced. Yes, you are a hero too. But, Your Excellency is a godlike existence in our hearts. He is high up and respected by people, so, okay, I got it. You don't have to say any more. Go out. Yun Chujio said angrily. The waiter wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and quickly left. Damn it, he was scared to death. This little devil was too scary. Yun Chujio already knew the reason for the difference in treatment from the waiter's words. Damn it, after all, it came down to two words, temperament. Yun Chujio glanced at D. Baiming. Damn it, even peeling a shrimp shell had an aura of pretentiousness. Who didn't know how to act aloof? She knew how to act too. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Yun Chujio's temperament suddenly changed. She looked like a fairy who did not eat the mortal world. However, Little Gio, my mother asked the canteen to specially make this for you. Why don't you try it? D. Baiming put the peeled shrimp meat in front of Yun Chujio. This guy did not use chopsticks. He directly took a few shrimp meat and threw it into his mouth. He immediately smiled and said, "It's really delicious. Aunt really loves me." The corners of D. Baiming's mouth curled up. He still helped Yun Chujio peel the prawn without batting an eyelid. Lan Luochen watched the interaction between the two of them. The anger in his heart kept rising and his entire person became somewhat gloomy. However, in just an instant he returned to his cool appearance. With a slightly provocative tone, he said to D. Baiming, "Your Holiness, I heard that a few days ago, little Gio relied on her own strength to resolve a disaster. I wonder where Your Holiness was at that time?" D. Baiming's eyes darkened. He naturally knew the meaning behind Lan Luchen's question. It was no other than to say that he was useless and could not protect Yun Chujio. D. Baiming said in a deep voice, "Little Gio has repeatedly fallen into danger, but I am powerless. I admit that I am indeed too weak. However, I will work hard to become stronger, so strong that I can protect little Gio from the slightest bit of harm." Lan Luochen never thought that D. Baiming would admit that he was weak so openly. Wasn't it said that D. Baiming's personality was extremely cold and arrogant? Yun Chujio was so smart, so she naturally heard the underlying meaning of the two people's words. She giggled, "I believe that Prince Charming will become more and more powerful, and I will also become more and more powerful. Cultivation is always about facing difficulties. If I don't experience some hardships, how can I become stronger? Let's not talk about this anymore. The dishes are already cold. Hurry up and eat." D. Baiming and Lan Luochen saw that Yun Chujio wanted to change the topic, so they could not continue. Moreover, Lan Luochen was caught off guard by D. Baiming's frank confession. The words that he had prepared were no longer useful. D. Baiming and Lan Luochen ate a few mouthfuls symbolically. Yun Chujio was eating happily. Before she left, she even packed the leftovers. Yun Chujio grabbed Di Baiming's arm and hopped out of the Drunken Immortal restaurant. Lan Luochen looked at their backs coldly and turned around to leave. Yun Chujio and Di Baiming strolled on the streets for a while and gained the envy of countless fangirls. Yun Chujio cursed in her heart, this evil world that looked at faces. Wasn't the gigolo just a little better looking? Wasn't his figure just good? Wasn't it just a very pretentious temperament? Wasn't it already at the 8th level of the Supreme Being realm? Wasn't it just a rich family? Wasn't it just a few small advantages? Did you all have to drool like dogs looking at bones? Yun Chujio rolled her eyes and gave Di Baiming a peck on the cheek. Then she looked at those fangirls in a show of force. Yun Chujio seemed to hear the sound of someone's heart being broken. Only then did this fellow's heart calm down. Humph, to put it another way. The performance of these people showed that my taste was good enough. The two of them returned to the Long Wind Inn sweetly. Shopkeeper Chi respectfully let the two of them into the upper room and let them serve tea and snacks. The two of them naturally lingered for a while. Di Baiming said to Yun Chujio with a serious expression, "Little Jio, what I said in the Drunken Immortal Tower before was my true thoughts. You have been in danger many times, but I was unable to do anything. I blame myself very much. I'm still too weak." Yun Chujio's face sank. "Prince Charming, there was an outsider here, so I didn't say much. Now, I have to talk about you." This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. When Di Baiming heard Yun Chujio address Lan Luochen as an outsider, his heart felt so good that it was about to fly up. The corners of his mouth could not help but curl up. Yun Chujio naturally did not know what Di Baiming was thinking. He continued, "Indeed, I have been trapped in the mystic realm so many times and you were unable to do anything. However, it was Tian Dao who went against me. That old bastard Tian Dao might be a black-hearted person, but he's really too powerful. Not to mention Prince Charming, even 10,000 of your masters wouldn't be able to resist Tian Dao. Moreover, I'm not a delicate flower that can't withstand the wind and rain. You've always protected me and kept me under your wings. I'm not in danger anymore, but how can I grow and become stronger? Moreover, how do you want to become stronger? You are already at the 8th level of the spiritual venerable realm, and there are almost no opponents in the Tian Yuan continent. I am only at the 2nd level of the spiritual venerable realm, so weak." Di Baiming was a little worried before, afraid that Yun Chujio would complain that his strength was not strong enough. Hearing Yun Chujio's words, his heart warmed, and he held Yun Chujio's shoulders with both hands. He said word by word, "Little Jio, the 8th level of the spiritual venerable realm is far from enough. I want to become stronger, so strong that I can fight against Tian Dao. I know this may be a joke, but I don't want to worry that you will be killed by Tian Dao. I don't want my woman to be in danger and I can't do anything about it. So I will break through to the peak of the 9th level of the spiritual venerable realm as soon as possible, so that I have the possibility to ascend to the high-level continent. There will definitely be more advanced cultivation methods there, and I can become strong enough to protect you." Yun Chujio pursed her lips, then she howled, "Prince Charming, you make me feel so ashamed. Previously, I was jealous of you because your spiritual power level was much higher than mine. I was worried that you would be seduced by other coquettish bitches after you ascended. I was really too narrow-minded, woo." Di Baiming. Could he take back what he said just now? Such a person would not be worried that he was not strong, but that he was too strong, okay? Yun Chujio wiped her tears with her sleeve and asked while sobbing, "Prince Charming, you won't blame me, right?" Di Baiming touched her hair. "Silly, why would I blame you? If anyone should be blamed, it should be you. I originally thought that I was strong enough, but now I realize that it was still far from enough. Let's not talk about the distance. It's my incompetence that the Netherworld Palace has succeeded so many times. I need to think of a way to completely eliminate the Netherworld Palace so that there won't be any future trouble." Yun Chujio nodded. "That's right. It's best to kill that Vice Palace Master Lu. With him in the Netherworld Palace, there won't be any peace. When the old Palace Master was still in power, He didn't attack our Tianyuan continent. It was only after he took power that he shamelessly coveted the Tianyuan continent. Oh right, little Geo, I'm here to tell you the good news. The spy in the Netherworld Palace has already given me the portrait of Xing V and that man. Come and take a look. Di Baiming took out the portrait from his storage ring and placed it on the table. Yun Chujio couldn't wait to look at the man and woman in the portrait. The man was slightly sick. It was obvious that he had an old illness, but his face was handsome and his temperament was extraordinary. The woman was very beautiful and had a noble temperament. However, there was a hint of worry between her brows. Yun Chujio had the impression of her foster parents in her memories. Although there was a slight difference between them and the two people in the painting, there was no doubt that these two people were the long-lost Yun Zhangqing and Lin Biyun. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.